Chi l'ha visto veramente giocare dice praticamente che ha delle doti incredibili. Sei davvero così, Kobe?
Sì. Sì.
Everyone thinks they know what made Kobe Bryant unstoppable.
Once upon a time, there was a young basketball player who had dreams of becoming one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
The work ethic.
He worked day and night, every day, for years and years and years and years and years. And as time went on, 20 years had passed, and he felt that he had accomplished all that he set out to accomplish.
The footwork, the Mamba mentality, 5 championships. 81 points. But what if I told you they all missed the actual weapon? What if the reason Kobe dominated for 2 decades wasn't just about basketball IQ or killer instinct? It was about something most people never even noticed.
Per la tua età, diciamo, insomma, stai facendo delle grosse cose. Sei consapevole che potresti diventare un grande giocatore professionista come tuo papà?
Speriamo.
Tu ci conti molto?
Sì.
In 2010, during the NBA Finals against the Celtics, Pau Gasol was setting a screen in the 4th quarter of Game 7 when he heard something that made him freeze. It wasn't English, it wasn't even Spanish. It was Catalan, the specific dialect from his childhood in Barcelona, whispered by Kobe Bryant in the loudest arena on earth. Years later, Gasol would say that day moment hearing his own language when everything was on the line was when he knew they would win the championship.
Don't let it, or don't allow to lose. Don't allow yourself to lose again in this season. We got to win the championship. No more losing. You cannot allow yourself to lose. So that's how he kind of motivated me to, step it up a notch that season.
See, the Kobe Bryant you know is only half the story. The version that played in America, that dominated the NBA, that became a global icon. But to understand how he really did it, you have to go back to a small town in Italy in 1984, where a 6-year-old boy who didn't speak a word of Italian was about to learn that language wasn't just about communication. It was about survival. It was about power. And eventually, it would become the secret weapon that separated him from every other player in NBA history. So, how good was Kobe Bryant actually? And what does language have to do with any of it? Let's go. Joe Bryant wasn't an NBA star. He was a journeyman who couldn't crack a consistent rotation in Philadelphia. So, in 1984, when his American career fizzled out, he did what a lot of former players did back then.
So Joe is seeking counsel about what he should do next. And one of those friends advises him, hey, go play in Europe. So Joe takes that advice and moves to Italy.
He took his family to Europe to keep playing basketball for a few more years.
Joe signed a contract with an Italian team outside of Rome. Kobe Bryant and his family moved. They were the only Black family in a small town. Kobe felt like an outsider. He struggled to fit in.
But for young Kobe, this wasn't just a move. It was exile. Imagine being 6 years old, getting dropped into a completely foreign country where you don't speak the language, you don't know the culture, and you're the only Black kid in every school you attend. That was Kobe's reality.
My parents basically told me, Kobe, you're going to an Italian school, we want you to learn a new language, and when you're young, you just basically do whatever your parents tell you to do with no questions asked.
His father switched teams constantly, which meant Kobe was always the new kid, always the outsider, always the one who had to prove himself all over again.
Joe plays for 4 different teams while he's in Italy. The family is constantly moving.
The Italian kids called him L'Americano at first. But here's where things get interesting. Most kids would have retreated, stuck with what they knew, waited to go back home. Not Kobe. Within months, he was speaking Italian.
Chi l'ha visto veramente giocare dice praticamente che ha delle doti incredibili. Sei davvero così, Kobe?
Sì. Sì.
Not broken, touristy Italian. Fluent Italian, with the regional dialects that changed depending on which city his father was playing in. He learned from Saturday morning cartoons, from playground insults that kids threw at him, from sitting in the back of classrooms, obsessively studying not just the words, but the rhythm, the tone, the way Italian kids communicated with each other. And something clicked in his brain. Language wasn't just about being understood. language was about control. By the time Kobe was 9, he could switch between Italian dialects depending on who he was talking to. If he was in Reggio Emilia, he spoke differently than when he was in Pistoia. He understood something that would become the foundation of his entire career. If you can speak to someone in their language, their real language, not just the words, but the cultural context behind those words, you don't just communicate with them, you own the conversation. But while Kobe was mastering Italian, he was also being shaped by isolation. See, basketball became his safe space. It was the one place where language didn't matter. You didn't need to speak Italian to understand a crossover. You didn't need the right accent to hit a jumper. The court was the only place where Kobe didn't have to translate himself. So he spent hours alone in gyms, working on his game in silence. No teammates, no coaches, just him and a basketball. And this is where the obsessive work ethic that everyone talks about really started.
Kobe would watch the videos of Jordan and he'd try to emulate that. And he would play after his father's games on a Sunday at this local church. He was so dedicated and he would just play and play and play, working so hard to get better.
It wasn't about becoming the best player. It was about creating a language he could speak better than anyone else.
Kobe grew up for part of his life in Italy. He would tell me the kids always would say, "You're good here, but when you go to the States, like you're gonna get crushed." And so I think that was definitely a fire that lit under him to want to prove that wrong.
Basketball became Kobe's first language, the one place where he could express himself without barriers. And here's the crazy part. While American kids his age were learning basketball from AAU coaches and summer camps, Kobe was learning from Italian coaches who taught the game completely differently. European basketball in the 1980s was all about fundamentals, footwork, spacing, reading the game like chess. They didn't care about athleticism or highlights. They cared about technique, about understanding the geometry of the court. So by the time Kobe returned to America at 13 years old.
So it's very hard. My father told us that he's retiring from the game of basketball and that it was time for us to come back to America.
He had two things most kids didn't have. He had European fundamentals drilled into his muscle memory, and he had learned that the key to dominance wasn't just being better. It was about understanding people better than they understood themselves. But coming back to America was another culture shock. Kobe returned to Philadelphia in 1991, and suddenly he was the outsider again.
Kobe came over to Philadelphia from Italy in 8th grade.
Only this time, he was an outsider in his own country. He didn't know American slang. He didn't understand the references other kids made. He couldn't relate to the music, the fashion, the social dynamics of American teenagers. The kids in Philly thought he was weird, too proper, too different, and once again, they let him know it. Kobe later said he felt more Italian than American when he got back, and that identity crisis pushed him even deeper into basketball. If he couldn't fit in socially, he'd dominate on the court. At Lower Merion High School, he let his game do the talking.
That's how Kobe was. I mean, it was just like, he was a monster on the court, but he wanted you to get better so the team could be better.
And by his senior year, he was averaging 31 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 blocks.
Every game was sold out.
This is the guy who had really one dream in life, and that's to be as good as the greatest player to ever play the game of basketball.
That year, Kobe leads Lower Merion to a state championship.
He started putting up major numbers. Wilt Chamberlain's high school scoring record stood for decades. And all of a sudden there's this kid in the Philadelphia suburbs who is putting up 40 points, 50 points.
He led Lower Merion to their first state championship in 53 years. But even as he became a high school legend, Kobe was still translating himself. He studied Michael Jordan obsessively, not just Jordan's moves, but his mannerisms.
Kobe would watch the videos of Jordan and he'd try to emulate that.
The way he talked to teammates, the way he carried himself in interviews. Kobe was learning to code switch, to present different versions of himself depending on the audience. When the 1996 NBA draft came around, Kobe shocked everyone by declaring straight out of high school.
No, I have decided to skip college and take my talent to the NBA.
The immediate reaction was just like backlash, hate.
Wait a minute.
What's a 17-year-old doing going into the NBA?
He's great against other high school players. That's all he is.
Well, I definitely think that these young players should go on to college and get some emotional maturity.
Any doubt at all that he can make this transition?
I don't have any doubt, my son.
I think what Kobe has, I think he has that burning desire. And that's one thing no one can measure is your heart. They can see your talent, they can see whether you can shoot, dribble, but that's one thing you can't measure, that heart. And I've been with him for 17 years, and it's a look that he gets in his eye. Kid has heart.
I'm very confident in my choice. I'm going at it 110% all the way. No turning back.
Players jumping directly from high school to the NBA was not widely accepted. In fact, it was frowned upon at that time.
The level of competition from a high school game to a professional NBA game is just astronomical. The difference in talent of guys that you're going to play against, guys you're going to face, is huge.
And despite his talent, NBA teams were terrified of him. Not because of his game, but because they couldn't figure him out. He seemed too polished, too calculated, too different from other 17-year-olds. Some scouts thought he was arrogant. Others thought he was a risk. Most of them just didn't understand him.
Even if teams, general managers, owners saw great ability, they were concerned about the physical and mental maturity and how long that might take transitioning, whereas college helps a player do that.
But Jerry West, the Lakers' general manager, saw something different. After Kobe destroyed Michael Cooper in a pre-draft workout, West knew he was watching something special.
To watch him work out, it was like ridiculous, okay? I mean, like a man playing against kindergarten people. That's how advanced he was. He was versatile, but he was a furious, ferocious defender. That's all he did. He wanted to compete. He was just a natural player who, when he was born, there was a heck of a lot of gold dust sprinkled on his yes. And he did not disappoint. He played every night. You didn't have to ask him to play hard.
And West understood that Kobe's differentness, the thing that made other teams nervous, was actually his greatest strength.
The Charlotte Hornets select Kobe Bryant from Lower Merion High School in Pennsylvania.
So the Lakers orchestrated a trade with Charlotte to get Kobe with the 13th pick.
He's going to wear number 8. And Kobe, this is for you.
Thank you very much.
And just like that, Kobe Bryant was headed to Los Angeles with a chip on his shoulder and a secret weapon nobody recognized. His rookie year was rough. Kobe barely played, logged single-digit minutes most nights, and looked lost at times. In his first NBA game, he scored 0 points and threw an air ball.
I remember watching Kobe's first game. I'm like, that must be weird for him, going from you're the best player in the country, now you're a bench warmer.
But here's what people missed. While Kobe struggled on the court, he was learning off of it. He was studying every veteran on the team, not just their basketball skills, but how they communicated. He noticed that Shaq responded to challenge and humor, that Derek Fisher needed encouragement, that some guys responded to directness while others shut down. Kobe was building a database of personalities, figuring out which language to speak to each teammate. And he was learning from the Lakers' international players, too. Vlade Divac, the Serbian center who got traded for Kobe, became an unexpected teacher. Even though they never played together, Kobe had studied how Divac communicated, how he used his background to connect with teammates, and Kobe started doing the same thing. He approached Latin American players in Spanish, not the textbook Spanish he was learning, but street Spanish, the kind that showed respect. By his second year, something shifted. Kobe wasn't just the skinny rookie anymore. He was starting to find his voice, literally and figuratively. He made the All-Star team as a starter, the youngest ever to do it.
He wins, becoming the youngest player to ever claim the crown.
After the All-Star game, I think they started loosening the rope and put some more responsibilities on this kid's shoulder.
And he started showing flashes of what would make him different from every other player in the league. But it was his relationship with Shaq that would define the next phase of his career. And it was a relationship built on a complete failure to communicate. Shaq and Kobe couldn't have been more different. Shaq spoke the language of dominance through personality. He was loud, charismatic, wanted to be loved. Kobe spoke the language of dominance through work. He was quiet, calculated, wanted to be feared.
Shaq just didn't carry a ton of respect out of the gate for Kobe. He had to earn that with Shaquille. So I think with Kobe and Shaq, it just took a little bit of time for them to get in step with one another.
And for years, they couldn't figure out how to speak to each other. People always talk about their feud like it was about ego or shots or credit. But really, it was a communication breakdown.
The Shaq-Kobe stars butting heads on the same team. Those were two guys who wanted to win, who were very talented, who could handle the big moment, the big shot.
Shaq needed his teammates to acknowledge his greatness, to defer to him, to speak to him in the language of respect. Kobe didn't operate that way. He didn't care about respect. He cared about results. And he couldn't understand why Shaq would show up to training camp out of shape, why he wouldn't push himself to the absolute limit.
When the Lakers came together around Phil Jackson started implementing his offense. Kobe and Shaq found a way to play off each other that was very successful. They both knew what they were on the floor. Regardless of how they felt off the floor about each other, Shaq would always yell at Kobe, "Barbecue chicken" on the court. And I asked him, I was like, what does that mean? He goes, "I knew I was going to eat. Throw me the basketball because I know that I'm going to eat this guy like barbecue chicken. I'm just going to tear him to pieces."
This is where Kobe's obsession with work ethic really came from. It wasn't just about being better, it was about control. If Kobe worked harder than everyone else, he didn't have to depend on anyone else. He didn't have to translate himself to teammates who wouldn't understand anyway. He could just dominate through sheer force of will. But here's the thing. Despite their communication problems, Shaq and Kobe won 3 straight championships from 2000 to 2002. They figured out a language on the court, even if they couldn't speak to each other off of it.
Within the media, there was a Shaq contingent and a Kobe contingent, and unfortunately, they would always go to the media.
Shaq and Kobe both fed into it. The media didn't force anything on Shaq and Kobe that they didn't put out there themselves.
But the thing is, who doesn't want to be the big dog of the Lakers?
Shaq dominated inside. Kobe dominated everywhere else. And Phil Jackson, the Zen master coach, somehow managed to translate between them just enough to keep it working. Those championship years taught Kobe something crucial. You didn't have to like someone to communicate effectively with them on the court. Basketball had its own language, and if you were fluent enough, you could win even when everything else was broken.
You had a franchise that was being looked at as the best franchise of this era of basketball, but you had 2 totally different people that were diametrically opposed to not just one another, but their approaches to life and their styles of play on the basketball court.
But by 2004, it all fell apart. The Lakers added Karl Malone and Gary Payton, creating a super team on paper.
I'd like to introduce to the city of Los Angeles, the newest Los Angeles Lakers, Gary Payton, Karl Malone.
But the chemistry was toxic. Kobe and Shaq barely spoke. Kobe had beef with Malone. The communication breakdown was complete. And in the finals against the Pistons, it showed. Kobe forced shots, trying to prove he didn't need anyone. The Lakers lost in 5 games.
When you start losing changes everything.
We know Shaq's going to move on, or Kobe's going to move on. One of them's going to go at this point.
That summer, Shaq got traded to Miami.
At that time, Shaq wanted a pay raise. He wanted to get paid more than he was currently making.
And suddenly, Kobe had something he'd wanted since he was 6 years old in Italy. Complete control. No more translating himself to a dominant center. No more compromising his vision. The Lakers were his team now, for better or worse. And at first, it was definitely worse. The next few years were brutal.
The Black Mamba.
Normally, you're not supposed to nickname yourself, but Kobe had this persona, the Black Mamba. It was just this killer instinct, this mentality.
Kobe put up insane numbers, scored 81 points against the Raptors in 2006.
The fact that he had 81 points as a player, I'm thinking to myself, well, damn, what did everybody else do? Like, they just run the sprints up and down the court? Like, but with Kobe, he was a very competitive person. He was just a guy that always wanted something personal to keep him motivated, keep him going.
It wasn't just the 81. Like, I'm sure it's knowing Kobe, he's trying to get 100.
Averaged 35.4 points per game. Had one of the greatest scoring seasons in NBA history. But the Lakers were mediocre. They missed the playoffs in 2005. Lost in the first round in 2006 and 2007. And the narrative became that Kobe couldn't win without Shaq, that he was too selfish, that he didn't know how to lead. But here's what people missed during those years. Kobe was learning a new language, the language of leadership. See, dominating through individual brilliance was one thing, Getting other players to follow you, to trust you, to buy into your vision? That was something else entirely. And Kobe didn't know how to do it yet. He tried being demanding, pushing his teammates the way he pushed himself. But guys like Smush Parker and Chris Meme couldn't handle it. They shut down. He tried being cold, distant, letting his game do the talking. But that just created more isolation. Kobe was stuck. He had all this talent, all this knowledge, but he couldn't translate it into team success. Then in February 2008, everything changed.
He needed somebody at his side to help him evolve his game. Enter Pau Gasol.
The Lakers traded for Pau Gasol. And this is where Kobe's linguistic weapon really kicked in. Pau Gasol was Spanish, born in Barcelona, spoke Catalan as his first language. And within days of the trade, Kobe wasn't just speaking to Pau in Spanish. He was speaking to him in Catalan, the specific regional dialect that Gasol grew up with. Not textbook Catalan. The real thing, with the right accent, the right slang, the right cultural references. Pau later said that hearing Kobe speak his childhood language created an instant bond.
That first game in New Jersey, he was talking to me in Spanish, and all the play calls and the coverages to gain my trust.
It wasn't just about communication. It was about feeling understood. Kobe didn't just want Pau to play well. He wanted Pau to feel like he belonged, to feel connected to the team in a way that transcended basketball. And it worked. Pau and Kobe became one of the most effective duos in the NBA. Not because they were the most talented, but because they spoke the same language, literally and figuratively. They understood each other's movements, they anticipated each other's decisions. And crucially, Kobe had finally learned how to make another player better by speaking their language instead of forcing them to learn his. That 2008 season, the Lakers made it to the finals against Boston. They lost, but Kobe had proved he could lead a team back to the championship stage, and something had shifted in him. He realized that his obsession with individual dominance had been limiting him. To be truly great, he needed to learn how to elevate everyone around him.
Well, the goal was to win a championship. It wasn't to win MVP or anything like that, it was to win a championship. So, from that aspect, we failed.
That summer, Kobe joined Team USA for the 2008 Olympics, and this was another turning point.
7 turnovers for China. Oh, strong finish for Kobe Bryant. It is. Ball back to James. Oh,
United States could not turn them over. Here's Wade once again with the steal.
Throws it in.
Because for the first time in his career, Kobe wasn't just the leader of American players. He was surrounded by international competition, by players who spoke different languages, came from different basketball cultures. And Kobe thrived in that environment.
By Jayson Kidd. Ahead to Kobe Bryant.
We made the commitment to ourselves and to our country to not worry about or focus about how we played with our teams in the NBA. This is not that, this is a different team. So we have to play a different way. Is best suited for our team here.
He spoke Spanish to the Spanish players, Italian to the Italian players. He learned basic Chinese for interviews in Beijing. He understood something that other American players didn't. Basketball was becoming a global game, and if you could speak to that global audience, not just in English but in their own languages, you became more than a player. You became a bridge between cultures.
It's really picking up a lot of steam and a lot of momentum. There's a lot of passion for basketball in China, true passion, love for the game. And when you have the love for the game, the passion, and you have the willingness to do the work.
Team USA won gold, beating Spain in the finals.
When you take somebody as good and as dominant as Kobe Bryant and put him in his position where he has to play maybe outside of his comfort zone and learn to work with people he's never worked with before, that's going to force you to grow a little bit as a player. It's going to force you to just figure out different stuff.
That 2008 Redeem team really showed that leadership side of him, the older guy that was bringing people along, but still showing he was the alpha dog in the pack.
I just think Kobe grew. I think he matured. I think he understood his responsibilities. Kobe said, I'm looking at basketball differently. I want to be a better teammate. By the time playoff comes, I'm hearing my teammates different, and they know I'm hearing them different. And he started to see that, but that's just a part of him opening up.
I think for Kobe, that's the ultimate level of growth and evolve in his game, was watching his teammates succeed around him.
The Lakers have notified the league Bryant will wear 24 next year.
Ball. Look who's got double clutch reverse. Pop off, Kobe. Go ahead, pop it a little bit. At 95-90 juice. Behind his back on a spin. Oh, and the slam. He'll go to the line. The crowd was on their feet.
And Kobe came back to LA with a new understanding of what leadership meant. It wasn't about dominating. It wasn't about being the toughest. It was about connecting with people in a way that made them want to follow you. The 2009 season, everything clicked. Kobe was playing the best basketball of his career, but he was also communicating better than he ever had. He learned what motivated each teammate. He spoke to Pau in Catalan before big games, reinforcing their bond. He joked with Lamar Odom, keeping things light. He gave Trevor Ariza confidence. He let Derek Fisher be the emotional leader, and when they faced Orlando in the finals, Kobe didn't try to do everything himself. He let the game come to him. He trusted his teammates. And when they needed him to take over, he did. The Lakers won the championship.
LA wins the 2009 NBA title.
When Kobe finally got that post-Shaq ring, you could look at the jubilation. I really do think that was monumental in so many ways.
And Kobe won Finals M5P. After all the years of criticism, all the questions about whether he could win without Shaq, he'd finally proved it. But one wasn't enough. Kobe wanted to prove it wasn't a fluke.
A single championship is easier than a second, than a third. You know what I'm saying? The mountain becomes higher. The goal to achieve becomes more difficult.
So the next year, the Lakers ran it back, and they ended up facing Boston again in the 2010 Finals.
You saw this struggle that Kobe was going through with trying to leave his mark on the game on his terms and then accepting that he wasn't going to be able to do that. And so he eventually changed his course of action and really focused on getting a lot of rebounds, getting a lot of defensive stops, making the right play.
Game 7. In Boston, everything on the line. And this is where the story about Pau Gasol and the Catalan language comes in.
This was a game high stakes for obvious reasons. It's the decisive game in the finals. It's Lakers-Celtics. He's trying to get his 5th NBA championship, tie with Magic Johnson, and he's pressing.
Late in the 4th quarter, with the game tight, Kobe whispered something to Pau in Catalan during a timeout. Nobody knows exactly what he said, but Pau later said that hearing his childhood language in that moment, in the loudest arena on earth with the championship on the line, gave him a sense of calm.
Don't let it, or don't allow to lose. Don't allow yourself to lose again in this season. We got to win the championship. No more losing. You cannot allow yourself to lose. So that's how he kind of motivated me to, step it up a notch that season.
A sense of connection. A reminder that he wasn't alone. The Lakers won. Kobe won his 5th championship, and he'd done it by learning to speak the language that each of his teammates needed to hear. Over the next few years, even as his body started breaking down, Kobe continued to use his linguistic advantage in different ways. He learned Mandarin to connect with Chinese fans, spending hours studying not just the words, but the cultural context. When he did interviews in China, he spoke Mandarin fluently enough that native speakers were shocked.
Ni hao, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, see you soon. Thanks.
He understood that basketball was exploding in Asia, and if he could speak directly to that audience, he could build a legacy that transcended the NBA. And he was right. To this day, Kobe is worshipped in China in a way that few American athletes ever have been. Not just because he was great at basketball, but because he took the time to learn their language, to show respect to their culture. In 2013, Kobe tore his Achilles. For most players, that's a career ender. But Kobe came back. And even though he was never quite the same physically, he found new ways to impact the game. He became a mentor. He started speaking the language of the next generation. Guys like Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard, Jayson Tatum, Devin Booker, they all sought out Kobe for advice. And Kobe didn't just teach them basketball. He taught them how to think about the game, how to study opponents, how to prepare mentally. He spoke to them in a language they could understand, translating his decades of experience into lessons they could actually use. He wasn't doing it for credit or recognition. He was doing it because he finally understood what his real legacy would be. It wasn't just championships or scoring records. It was about passing on knowledge, about teaching the next generation to speak the language of excellence. When Kobe retired in 2016, his final game was legendary. He scored 60 points at 37 years old, going out on his own terms.
Kobe's decision to retire was a bittersweet decision for the fans. We see Kobe aging in basketball years, but he's still literally dropping 60 points.
It was shocking that someone could do that in their last game. And then you're thinking like, well, if he could score 60, why would he walk away now? But he had other plans.
But what struck people more than the points was his speech afterward.
What can I say? Mamba out.
A Mamba out. 2 words, but they were delivered in a way that felt like he was speaking to everyone individually, to the fans who had supported him, to the teammates who had battled with him, to the opponents who had pushed him. He'd spent 20 years learning how to communicate through basketball, and in those final moments, he didn't need to say much. He'd already said it all. After retirement, Kobe threw himself into new languages, the language of business, the language of storytelling.
Kobe was one of those individuals that we as sports writers and journalists were always worried about what he was going to do in his post-career because he was so singular in what his interests were.
He created Detail, a show where he broke down NBA games with the same obsessive detail he'd used to study opponents during his career. He won an Oscar for Dear Basketball, an animated short film that translated his love for the game into art.
And the Oscar goes to Dear Basketball, Glenn Key and Kobe!
And he became a girl dad, learning the language of fatherhood to 4 daughters. He coached Gianna's AAU team, teaching young girls the same fundamentals he'd learned in Italy decades earlier. People who watched him coach said he was patient in a way he'd never been as a player. He'd learned that different people needed different approaches, different languages. On January 26, 2020, Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, and 7 others died in a helicopter crash in Calabasas. The tragedy shook the entire world, not just the basketball world, the entire world.
SportsCenter Zuba Mahenti, I'm Michael Lees. Breaking news in this Sunday afternoon. 5-time NBA champion, former league MVP Kobe Bryant died earlier this afternoon in Los Angeles in a helicopter crash. News reports are just coming in.
It happened this morning. The chopper reportedly went down just before 10 a.m. local time, according to the fire department out there in Calabasas, California. That's north.
And in the aftermath, something became clear. Kobe's impact went far beyond basketball. Tributes came in from every corner of the globe, in every language. In China, millions mourned. In Spain, they held vigils. In Italy, the places where he grew up honored him. In Argentina, in Germany, in Japan, everywhere. Because Kobe had spent his life learning to speak to people in their own languages. Not just literally, though that was part of it, but emotionally, culturally. He understood that greatness wasn't just about being the best. It was about connecting with people in a way that inspired them to be their best. So how good was Kobe Bryant actually? That's the wrong question. The right question is, how did Kobe Bryant become great? And the answer isn't what most people think. Yes, he worked harder than anyone. Yes, he had incredible talent. Yes, he had the Mamba mentality. But the secret, the thing that separated him from every other player, was his ability to speak multiple languages. And I don't just mean Italian, Spanish, Mandarin, though those were part of it. I mean, he learned to speak the language of every teammate he ever played with. He learned to speak the language of every opponent he faced. He learned to speak the language of every culture he encountered. He learned to speak the language of leadership, of mentorship, of fatherhood, of business, of art. Kobe Bryant wasn't just a basketball player. He was a translator. He spent his entire life translating himself, translating the game, translating excellence into a language that anyone could understand if they were willing to listen. From that 6-year-old kid in Italy who didn't fit in, to the 17-year-old rookie who nobody understood, to the champion who finally learned how to lead, to the mentor who taught the next generation, to the father who passed on his knowledge to his daughters. Kobe's story is about learning to communicate in ways that transcend words, and that's his real legacy, not the 5 rings or the 81 points or the most valuable player awards. It's the idea that greatness requires more than talent and work ethic. It requires the ability to connect with people, to understand them, to speak to them in a language they can hear. Most people never heard this version of Kobe. They heard the trash talk, the competitiveness, the coldness. But if you listened closely, if you paid attention to how he interacted with international teammates, how he spoke to different audiences, how he adapted his communication style to whoever he was with, you'd see the real weapon. Kobe Bryant was speaking in tongues, and the world couldn't help but listen. So the next time you watch his highlights, don't just watch his footwork or his fadeaway. Listen. Listen to how he communicates with his teammates. Watch how he adjusts his body language depending on who he's talking to. Notice how he uses his hands, his eyes, his entire presence to convey meaning beyond words. That's the Kobe you never heard. The one who understood that basketball, like language, is about connection, about finding the right words, the right tone, the right approach to reach someone else, about translating complex ideas into simple actions, about making yourself understood in a world that doesn't always speak your language. And that's what made him truly unstoppable, not just on the court, but in life. Kobe Bryant taught us that if you want to be great at anything, you have to learn to speak the language of excellence, and then you have to teach that language to everyone around you. Mamba out. If you enjoyed this video, stick with Primetime Sports, subscribe, and check out some of our other content.